What's up, everybody? If you ask me, coming back at you with the Real Frame of Mind members.
Voila.
We are just reviewing a film that came, well, it's been on Netflix for a while. The Hunt, starring Mads Mikkelsen and some other people that I don't know, because I think it's like a Swedish film or something like that.
I believe it is Swedish.
Swedish, yeah.
Did some good damage at some of the foreign film festivals, some of the bigger name film festivals, and also had an Oscar nom for Best Foreign Film. So, myself, Scott S. Box Nemi, the champ over here, and the guy who made him the champ over there. We're going to take you through this film. Just a disclaimer quickly. Please, if you have a film that you want us to review, we'd be all for it. What we do is we're just trying to go through some old films that we want to dissect and talk about a little bit more. And if there's one that you have, hit us up on the comments or on our Facebook page, and we'll get back to you, and we'll do it up for you. So,
Yep.
First of all, I guess your guys' take on just going into the film. Obviously, the plot is not one that you see often.
It's very, very original, I guess, yeah.
So how did you guys manage to kind of get yourself ready for what was about to unfold on screen?
Damn it, go.
I didn't prepare at all.
Yeah, I have.
I honestly was like, oh, it's The Hunt. It looks like it's probably going to be like a dude hunting another dude, like, a cop thing.
Yeah.
Not even like a little bit of what it actually was.
Right,
Like The Hunt actually was like a very small part of the movie.
I honestly didn't know the plot of it. And I was texting Damon watched it before I did, so he was like, it wrecked him emotionally. He's like, very, very emotional film.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way. Like, it was very successful with that. But, so I was like, oh, I don't know, what the heck is happening? So I'm
Right.
like, more intrigued to watch it, and then...
It
yeah,
is,
he's right.
It is deep, and I mean, anybody who hasn't seen this, I would kind of either brace yourself or go check out the synopsis, or even watch the movie before watching this, because I was the same exact way as you guys were, and I went to see it in theaters. So
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had the movie pass at the time, and I was just hitting up everything I could.
Yeah.
And it was on one of the indie focuses, and checked it out. And again, just by the name of it and the actor Mads Mikkelsen, who's in a lot of different blockbusters.
Yeah.
He was just in Doctor Strange. He was in
true.
Casino Royale.
Yep.
So, great actor. I love him.
Yes.
He is
And
very good.
going into this and being like, okay, what the hell's going on here? What did I get myself into? It was kind of jarring at first, and as it unfolded, I was just completely sucked in.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the beauty of this movie. As far as like a movie goes, it's not like a crazy amount that actually happens.
Right.
But like every single moment on screen, you are watching like this, and it's very intense.
So what we were actually alluding to is the plot of this film is a man who works at a kindergarten, and he has a best friend who has a daughter, which I don't even know at that age if you could call her troubled or not, but something, maybe just the life at home that she lives in.
Right.
She's just a little bit off.
Yeah, you could. I mean, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask you guys, if you thought she was off or she just has
Definitely.
an imagination to her. But she accuses Mads Mikkelsen of showing her his, you know what?
His private parts.
Yes.
His penis.
And what takes place from there is what the title is in fact about. It becomes basically a witch hunt. And
Essentially, yeah.
from the moment they find out to till the moment it's resolved,
Yeah.
there is it's completely against him. And I mean, I guess I would ask you guys. Typical kind of 3-act structure. Did you guys enjoy the way that this film was paced, and how the order of everything went out?
I did, for the most part. I think 85% of the movie was paced perfectly. I guess my only complaint is like really one of the only big complaints about the whole movie in general is the very end, the jump to a year later and stuff. Not a lot explained there.
Right.
So it kind of left you kind of like, okay, well, seems like everything's all right, but obviously the
Right.
ending happens, and then you're like, never mind. But but yeah, everything after that paced, I think, very well. Like, yeah, it was, and obviously, like I said before, it's not a lot going on, so everything that happens is very particular and keeps you glued to the screen. So
Yeah. I really enjoyed the pacing. I don't think there's anything really about this movie that I can point to and say they didn't really do that very well.
Yeah.
The ending was a bit weird, but I feel like it also came full circle because a couple things happened at the end that were mentioned earlier in the movie, so it kind of wrapped everything up into a nice little bow and then fade to black. And that was I liked it because it made me think a lot afterwards. Like I spent a good amount of time dwelling on it, like what just happened.
Yeah.
And like I'm still not really sure. Like I have an opinion, but I'm not sure if it's the right one.
Yeah.
And it's just
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
that's really what you want from a movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially one with like a kind of a open-ended ending like this one had.
Right. I mean, I think personally, I mean, I watched it back in 2012 or whatever when it came out,
yeah.
and I haven't watched it since. And it is almost down to a T. Though, you know, when people tell you it's one of those movies you can only watch once. For me, that never happens. For me, I can watch Schindler's List every other day if I had to, and it wouldn't bother me. I could watch 12 Years a Slave. It wouldn't bother me. But this movie, obviously, it's one that I saw and I enjoyed, but I haven't gone back to it in 4 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just to do it for this, I almost wanted to stop it in the beginning again and like just say, nah, I think I can go off my memory. But I think going back, and I'm glad I ended up rewatching it because it's just, it's one of those things where you are so invested into the main character that you know what's going to happen and you don't want it to happen to that main character.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you like him almost too much. Like everything that happens to him just like wrecks you inside.
Right, and I think the major plot, in movies like this where or even like the fallout and like a romantic comedy, it's like the thing that I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Because then it comes back and but this one it hits me a little differently. But I think the setup in the first act is absolutely flawless. And it's so subtle in the way that it's telling its story because you learn so much about this character and the little girl and who he works with and everything like that without even, they're not even speaking our language, which I think that it's flawless filmmaking, but in a way too, it's very simple, it doesn't break many rules. But man, it says so much about the characters and the situation that's to come. Like Damon, you pointed to earlier, stuff that comes around full circle. They don't just forget about it; they actually bring it back up at the end, which is I thought was great. As for the cinematic techniques in this, did you guys were you mind blown or anything by anything that happened in here?
Like cinematically, not. I mean, I think it looked good overall.
Right.
Like, but I don't think they were trying to do anything that was going to, jar you or, I think what was most important were the actors on screen and the story that was unfolding. And I think for what they gave us cinematically, it fit perfectly. Right. I think probably the best cinematic moments came at the end, honestly, in the woods. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely. I agree 100%. It's the story is simple. I mean, simple in the fact that it's very linear. It's just straightforward what happens.
Twists or turns or anything like that.
Right, and then I like how they decided to go with the storytelling in that same or the filmmaking in the same direction, where it's not over the top. You're not getting spinning cameras or going through walls or anything like that. It was straightforward, and I think one of the greatest things to watch, if anybody out there is looking, to learn how to use lenses, this movie does a phenomenal job at choosing lenses, because when they have a focus on Lucas, who are Mads Mikkelsen's character, and when we see him, and it's very the focus is very on his character, and there's everything else in the background is fuzzy, it's out of focus. So you're feeling very intimate with the character itself, and then you have all of these scenes with outside characters or supporting characters where everything's done in a wide lens, where you have depth of field and everything like that, which I thought was it's great. You can just watch it just for that, and I think that's one of the major things I've picked up on the second time watching it.
Also, I've noticed that kind of like the beginning of the movie, happier parts of the movie started in like the brighter fall tones.
I was about to say the
And it
lighting
kinda-
was pretty fantastic.
and it kind of was lighter overall. And then obviously when everything started unfolding, it turned into winter literally,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that tone kind of took
Yeah.
front and foremost.
It gets grayer and grayer, and then it just turns. I mean, especially right as like the climax ends, like it gets dark.
yeah,
Like they're dark like the entire time. when the dad's talking to the girl, and then when he goes and sees Mads Mikkelsen, like it's all just like
in
in
his
the
house.
complete
Yeah,
dark.
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's good.
And that's like the like end of it, and then it goes light again because like everything's
A
supposed
year
to be
later,
fine.
yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about the, cinematic techniques, about the story in general. What did you guys feel like the writing was sound writing, or did you think there was a few areas where they could have gotten a little bit better, or was it just perfect for what they were trying to do? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really sums it up. It's just like, I look at this as like three extremely strong elements of the film. It would be the acting, the directing, and then the writing, because I think it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And I don't remember the writers' names. I feel bad, but they constructed something that was going to be right to the point, like we said, but effective in every level to keep us all, enthralled the entire time. And I think that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, they added some parts with the writing that really like got you in the feels. Good God, I said that. And I think the only thing that I was kind of like unclear about was the end, when all of a sudden he's like kind of magically back together with his girlfriend. Like, I felt like that could have been resolved in like a simple conversation.
Yeah.
But it was just like 1 year later, everything's fine. Like, he's got his girlfriend back and all this stuff. And I'm just kind of like...
But you don't know if that's the writing in general. It could have been.
Yeah,
just
it could have
cut
been...
out
exactly.
Agreed. I would have liked to have just like an extra scene in there or
because
something.
it is almost a 2-hour runtime.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe they cut it down to be a little bit smoother. But I mean, the story in itself is just so engaging. You wouldn't think that a possible pedophile and the subsequent harassment he takes would be that engaging. But man, does it hooks you right away. And you're like we said before, you're so interested in Lucas, and you feel like you're friends with him, and it just goes back to the way that they showed us his friends and how they acted around each other, and his family's relationship and everything like that. So I think throughout all of it was phenomenal. And you got those that church scene.
Yeah.
At the end, where it's like the guy is just, his spirit is just absolutely broken.
Yep.
That scene, I remember that scene from the first time I watched it and loved it even more the second time.
Yeah.
When, just because you've probably been in a situation where, someone's been talking about you or saying something about you, you go in there and it's like a million eyes on you and stuff like that, and he's just a broken man and he just lashes out, which is... one of my favorite scenes.
It's understandable too, and I think the best part of, I feel like I don't want to spoil anything, but like it's 2012 or 2016. Yeah, okay,
so
fair enough. But like I feel
spoiler alert coming up.
Yeah, I feel like the best part is that the whole ride, the entire movie, he's innocent. So you are there trying to. I know from my perspective is that I'm sitting there, I'm like, thinking of every way that he could try getting out of the situation, but it's such a situation that, like, even no matter what, obviously, even a year later, when it seems like everybody's buddy, nope, he's still not escaped something this drastic and this so, and I think that's a testament to the writing, honestly.
Yeah,
and the directing, too.
Yeah. I just think, throughout the whole ordeal, like you said, the fact that we know what's going on and the fact that everybody else, we're just ripping our hair out sitting here. Like, what are you doing? This guy, you're not even giving him a chance to explain himself.
Well, yeah, and even when the girl goes back on it, you know what I mean?
Right.
They just chalk it up to, you're trying to suppress yourself because it's a bad memory that you don't want to think about anymore.
But also, it's nice because you do have an arc from Lucas. Lucas takes a bunch of shit from everybody.
Yeah.
And he finally, at the end, when he lets loose and just, the supermarket
Yeah,
scene.
yeah, I was gonna say.
And then in the church where, he's, telling, like, you're out of your mind, like, look in my eyes, he said before, I know when you're lying. The best friend's like, I know when you're lying. You had this thing with your eye. And then so he's yelling at him, look in my eyes and everything like that. It's just, I thought it was a great performance and everything.
Oh, man.
So let's get to the monkey in the room, the ending. What is your guys' interpretation of the ending? We're all thinking about the same thing, right? The gunshot?
Yes.
Okay. So, who wants to take it away first?
I don't really have an interpretation. So, like, I've obviously thought of possibilities, but I have no clear cut. What is yours? You seem like you have.
I feel like it's an ambiguous ending. When I first heard the gunshot and saw him fall to the ground, the first thing I thought of was earlier in the movie. The father said, "If I find out what you did to my daughter, I will put a bullet in your head."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that bullet came pretty fucking close to his head.
True.
So I feel like it leaves a little ambiguousness to, like, maybe there is a chance that this whole thing could have actually been true. Like, maybe something did happen. And the more I think about it, like, because there's moments in the movie where they just kind of, like, weird things happen.
Like the look in the church? Is that one of them?
Maybe. Because that I just kind of chalked up to, like, the dad thinking, like, oh, I kind of fucked up. Like, I didn't think there was really a look.
Oh, no.
I thought it about Mads Mikkelsen's look.
Yeah,
back
when he's
in
looking
the first
back.
one.
Yeah.
Which is actually the cover of the film.
Yeah.
Which is him looking back. But, I mean, personally, I feel like that scene is him just, enough's enough.
Yeah.
He's got to do something about
for sure,
it.
I
For sure.
agree.
And I don't know if he did or not, because that's the part that's, like, killing me inside, because I'm like, is he a pedophile or is he not? Because I feel like there's just moments in there where it's like, he might have been, I mean, obviously there's a lot of evidence to him not being. We're with him most of the movie, and we see, like, he's telling everyone, and, the kids are making up stories about it, and he's getting, free because of it. But, like, when the girl's brother his friend shows her, like, the little porno.
Yep.
She curls up into, like, almost a ball, like almost traumatized.
See, I took that that's where she got the lie from anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
So, okay.
And that's what I thought like first time, but I'm kind of thinking now, like,
It's possible.
does she, like, I mean, sure, like, that's where she gets the lie from, but, like, why did she just start, like, kind of, like, curling up, like, unless something, like, happened to her? And there was a part of it where I thought the dad was actually the one who's been, like, molesting her too, and that's kind of maybe something that I don't know. No, it's so fucking confusing.
I mean, I understand it, but, like, I completely disagree, because when the friend or the brother of the friend shows the video to her or whatever, he says something about his rod.
Yeah, and she uses a lot of the same words.
She says
I
it
agree.
like she almost says it back verbatim, and it's because, to me personally, her home life has a lot to do with it, because she's constantly left alone. They specifically show you a scene where she's outside and the parents are arguing.
Yeah.
She feels left alone. She just wants someone to love her. And then when she sees how the young boys are interacting with him when they're playing in the pillow room, and she wants that, and that's when she smacks one on his lips, and he says, "No, you can't kiss people on the lips."
Yeah.
And then she tries to give him that heart, and then her being crushed by him saying,
exactly.
"Go give it to somebody else."
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that.
Right.
I just kind of, like, think that maybe there was a little bit, like, reading between the lines going on. Like, maybe there's something below the surface.
I feel like if they wanted to do that, they would have implied it more throughout the movie. Then, you know what I mean? Like, because there's only
really
like
didn't want you to know,
or at least balance the scales a little bit.
Yeah. Just I mean, which I think could have worked too if they gave us some, like, maybe he did do it. You know what I mean? But I didn't feel like they really did that enough. I felt like it was.
I felt like the only real thing that. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all good.
I feel like the only thing that really kind of leaned towards that was the gunshot at the end. Was like, maybe there's.
I don't even.
Because I feel like that was ambiguous. Like, why would someone? I mean, other than it's just like someone completely different, because they didn't really show who it was. They had the sun blocking who the person was, so it could have been literally anyone shooting at him.
Yeah.
But, like, you feel like it's probably the father.
I have a take on it now.
It
just came to me. I don't think that it matters who it was. I think the point is that no matter what,
he'll never get
he's never going to get away from this. Okay, it's going to be over him forever. Like, no matter how buddy he can get with everybody, it's still going to be there. This big giant, moment in his life is going to live with him forever.
Well, I agree with the fact that, well, I'm saying the ambiguity within the final scene to me comes from who was the one who shot at him.
Okay.
But if you paid attention, like we did throughout the movie, flat out who did it. It was when the dad said, "If I find out you did this, I'm going to put a bullet in your head."
Yes.
And at the end, it wasn't him. So instead of putting a bullet in his head, he's kind of reassuring him, saying,
"Okay,
yeah, you're, it's not you. It didn't happen," kind of thing. Because what is it like? Is he just going to take like my word is my bond kind of thing?
Yeah.
Where, no, they put him through. They put him through hell. What's the only way to get through to this guy? If I accused one of you of being a pedophile, I would probably think I'd never talk to you again after that.
Yeah.
Because I fucked up so mad.
Oh, for sure.
But if there was indeed a moment where we were in the same room and we couldn't kind of get it across how sorry we were, I think maybe that's the way. Because you got to remember they're pretty macho. They're portrayed as beer drinking, hunting, and
that's true. I didn't think of it
very
that way.
close friendship, and to shoot at him and miss on purpose, I think for me was basically a sign of saying, water under the bridge, as best as we can.
I guess that makes sense, and that would be very. I feel like that would feel like more of a comfortable ending. But what would be the point of not showing his face then? You know what I mean? At the end,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's where they want to throw you off. The ambiguity is within who did it. But like I said, if you watch it close enough,
it makes sense. It makes the most sense. Yeah, cool.
I think that's a great thing about this ending. Is we have three differing opinions on what happened, and I'm kind of
and it makes
I'm pretty sure I'm reading too much into it, but because I first had your opinion. Of the ending, it was, he just needs to move away from that area. He's never going to get away from, the fact that he was accused. He didn't actually even do it. And then your opinion is great too, and it's just kind of that's what makes this a great ending, is that you can read three different things into it, and who's to say you're wrong?
Right, and I think just the way that it wraps up in the fact that the last time we see them before, one of the last times we see Lucas with the friends or the community is in that church scene, and then then they flash forward. I can't remember exactly. I know he gets let out.
He gets let out,
and then they start abusing him. That's right.
Yes.
And then you fast forward to when the kid has his hunting license or whatever, and then they all go out on a hunt. But I feel like it would kind of. I don't know. I think I'm just saying, if they were trying to tell us something different, I feel like there's too many points on this side rather than this side.
Yeah.
Than him going through that big. It'd be like one of those big emotional speeches in a war movie or something, and then just having the good guys just get slaughtered. It would make no sense, right? Like in Lord of the Rings, what?
I was glory. That has happened.
Yeah. But I'm saying in
I get you though.
Lord of the, it didn't feel like that throughout the movie where we're set from the beginning to be on this guy's side.
Yeah.
And I can understand if it was a shot by someone else that wasn't the dad saying I still don't believe you.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the scene right there. The fact that we don't know who it is. That's the big part of it.
That is good.
Or why they did it.
Right. So, letter grades.
I gotta go start?
Looks like you get to go first.
Well, I'm gonna give it an A. I think it is just, for what it is, I think it's near perfect. Totally doesn't matter that it's a foreign film. You follow it complete, and the words don't even matter almost. It just flows so perfectly well. Plus, great directing, great script, and I think standout acting. Every single character in that movie was believable.
Oh yeah, the young kids.
All the kids.
Yeah, to the star actors. It's unbelievable how sound the acting was.
Right,
yeah.
It was just completely believable, and A is. And I think the only reason I gave it an A instead of an A+ is because I agree with you on the fact that I probably won't watch this movie again, if not for a long time, because it's such a hard subject.
Right. You got to kind of gotta break those waves
to get in that,
until you're in the clear where you can kind of settle into it.
Mm-hmm. It's easy. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I give it an A. Pretty close to an A+.
Yeah, it's very close.
Don't really have much to add. After I watched this movie, I had to work, and I told Justin about it, who commented on one of our videos previously.
Oh yeah, the Tom Hanks one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was hashing through the plot with him, and he's really into it, and then I'm like, yeah, it's a fantastic movie, man. You should go watch it. He's like, oh, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I mean, it's kind of a downer that it has subtitles. He's like, yep, you lost me. Like, he was there. He was gonna go home and watch it. He even said, like, I was gonna go home and watch this, but he said it had subtitles. I'm like, it's actually like
they do speak some English in it.
They do, and I told him, like, there's some English, but like, I mean, it helps actually.
Yeah,
like having subtitles because it keeps your focus because you have to kind of pay closer attention to the words on the page.
It's very disappointing that people would shut themselves off to foreign subtitled movie because you're like. There's like probably like 15, 20 movies that I love dearly that are foreign films that I would have never seen if I would have shut them off. So
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yep. For me, I think basically how I feel about this movie, I feel like, well, this is one of the only movies I can't go back and watch on a daily basis or like a bi-weekly thing. But I'm not going to downgrade it for that. I really honestly truly think that this is very sound filmmaking. Anybody who wants to go and watch a film that's done right, a film that is clicking on all cylinders, from, you know, the casting to, you know, the choices with their editing, maybe not jumping ahead like it did, you know, where you lose yourself. But if you're focused, it demands your attention. If you're focused and you follow through all the plot points and everything that's going on, I think you will end up being just as amazed as we were. So I'm going A+.
Very good.
I can't deny it. So that was The Hunt. It's on Netflix right now.
Yep.
2012. Bunch of awards attached to it. A gripping film. Don't let the subtitles chase you away. Don't let the content chase you away. The plot
has to be seen.
IMDb top 250.
Yeah, if you're a movie lover, this is a movie you should definitely see.
Right, and
absolutely.
And very, very well done throughout. So if you have a movie that you want us to review and talk about, comment us down below. We actually got one for Eternal Sunshine, which is up. Go check that one out. And we actually got another one for kids. So,
we got to do kids?
Yep.
Oh,
so hopefully...
Was it Knutson?
Yes.
I knew
it! So keep them coming. I mean, we like doing it. It's nice when it's a mystery. It's fun even just having a few of us decide what one to do. So I look forward to it all the time. So like, subscribe, comment, everything like that. Keep the comments coming. We've had some good discussions in your guys' reviews for the newer movies, and these ones are just a take on older movies maybe that got pushed away or pushed aside. Definitely. So please check us out and give us a listen, and you guys are awesome.
Adios.
Black, and that was I liked it because it made me think a lot afterwards. Like, I spent a good amount of time dwelling on it, like what just happened.
Yeah. And
like, I'm still not really sure. Like, I have an opinion, but I'm not sure if it's the right one.
Yeah.
And it's just,
well, you gotta have an opinion.
that's really what you want from a movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially one with like a kind of open-ended ending like this one had.
Right. I mean, I think personally, I mean, I watched it back in 2012 or whatever when it came out, and I haven't watched it since. And it is almost down to a T. Though, when people tell you it's one of those movies you can only watch once. For me, that never happens. For me, I can watch Schindler's List every other day if I had to. It wouldn't bother me. I could watch 12 Years a Slave. It wouldn't bother me. But this movie, obviously, it's one that I saw and I enjoyed, but I haven't gone back to it in 4 years. Right. You know what I mean? And just to do it for this, I almost wanted to stop it in the beginning again and like just say, nah, I think I can go off my memory. But I think going back, and I'm glad I ended up rewatching it because it's just, it's one of those things where you are so invested into the main character that
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen and you don't want it to happen to that main character.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you like him almost too much. Like,
Yeah.
everything that happens to him just like wrecks you inside.
Right, and I think the major plot, in movies like this where or even like the fallout and like a romantic comedy, it's like the thing that I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Because then it comes back and but this one it hits me a little differently. But I think the setup in the first act is absolutely flawless. And it's so subtle in the way that it's telling its story, because you learn so much about this character and the little girl and who he works with and everything like that without even, they're not even speaking our language, which I think that it's flawless filmmaking. But in a way too, it's very simple. It doesn't break many rules. But man, it says so much about the characters and the situation that's to come. Like Damon, you pointed to earlier, stuff that comes around full circle. They don't just forget about it; they actually bring it back up at the end, which is I thought was great. As for the cinematic techniques in this, were you mind blown or anything by anything that happened in here?
Like cinematically, not. I mean, I think it looked good overall.
Right.
But I don't think they were trying to do anything that was going to, jar you or, I think what was most important were the actors on screen and the story that was unfolding. And I think for what they gave us cinematically, it fit perfectly. Right. I think probably the best cinematic moments came at the end, honestly, in the woods. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely, I agree 100%. It's the story is simple. I mean, simple in the fact that it's very linear. It's just straightforward what happens.
Twists or turns or anything like that.
Right. And then, I like how they decided to go with the storytelling in that same or the filmmaking in the same direction. Yeah. Where it's not over the top, you're not getting spinning cameras or going through walls or anything like that. It was straightforward, and I think
emotional film,
and
not in a bad way. Like it was very successful with that. But so I was like, I don't know what the heck is happening, I'm like more intrigued to watch it, and then he's right.
It is deep, and I mean, anybody who hasn't seen this, I would kind of either brace yourself or go check out the synopsis or even watch the movie before watching this, because I was the same exact way as you guys were, and I went to see it in theaters. So
you did?
Yeah, I had the movie pass at the time, and I was just hitting up everything I could. And it was on one of the indie focuses, and checked it out. And again, just by the name of it and the actor Mads Mikkelsen, who's in a lot of different blockbusters.
Yeah.
He was just in Doctor Strange. He was in Casino Royale. Yep. So great actor. I love him.
Yes. He is very good.
Going into this and being like, okay, what the hell's going on here? What did I get myself into? It was kind of jarring at first, and as it unfolded, I was just completely sucked in.
Oh yeah. And that's the beauty of this movie. As far as like a movie goes, it's not like a crazy amount that actually happens.
Right.
But like every single moment on screen, you are watching like this, and it's very intense.
So what we were actually alluding to is the plot of this film is a man who works at a kindergarten, and he has a best friend who has a daughter, which I don't even know at that age if you could call her troubled or not. But something, maybe just the life at home that she lives in.
Right.
She's just a little bit off.
Yeah. You could, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask you guys, if you thought she was off or she just has an imagination to her. But she accuses Mads Mikkelsen of showing. What's up, everybody? If you ask me, coming back at you with the Real Frame of Mind members.
Voila.
We are just reviewing a film that it's been on Netflix for a while. The Hunt, starring Mads Mikkelsen and some other people that I don't know, because I think it's like a Swedish film or something like that.
I believe it is Swedish.
Swedish, yeah.
Did some good damage at some of the foreign film festivals, some of the bigger name film festivals, and also had an Oscar nom for Best Foreign Film. So myself, Scott Icebox Nemi, the champ over here, and the guy who made him the champ over there. We're going to take you through this film. Just a disclaimer quickly, please, if you have a film that you want us to review, we'd be all for it. What we do is we're just trying to go through some old films that we want to dissect and talk about a little bit more. And if there's one that you have, hit us up on the comments or on our Facebook page, and we'll get back to you and we'll do it up for you. So,
Yep.
First of all, I guess your guys' take on just going into the film. Obviously, the plot is not one that you see often.
It's very, very original, I guess. Yeah.
So, how did you guys manage to kind of get yourself ready for what was about to unfold on screen?
Damn it, go.
I didn't prepare at all.
Yeah, I have.
I honestly was like, oh, it's the hunt. It looks like it's probably going to be like a dude hunting another dude, like, a cop thing.
Yeah.
Not even like a little bit of what it actually was.
Right,
like the hunt actually was like a very small part of the movie.
I honestly didn't know the plot of it, and I was texting Damon watched it before I did, so he was like, it wrecked him emotionally. He's like very, very
Showing her his, what?
his private parts.
Yes.
His penis.
And what takes place from there is what the title is in fact about. It becomes basically a witch hunt. And
essentially, yeah.
from the moment they find out to till the moment it's resolved, there is it's completely against him. And I mean, I guess I would ask you guys. Typical kind of 3-act structure. Did you guys enjoy the way that this film was paced and how the order of everything went out?
I did, for the most part. I think 85% of the movie was paced perfectly. I guess my only complaint is really one of the only big complaints about the whole movie in general is the very end, the jump to a year later and stuff. Not a lot explained there.
Right.
So it kind of left you kind of like, okay, well, seems like everything's all right, but obviously the ending happens, and then you're like, never mind. But but yeah, everything after that paced, I think, very well. It was, and obviously, like I said before, it's not a lot going on, so everything that happens is very particular and keeps you glued to the screen. So
yeah, I really enjoyed the pacing. I don't think there's anything really about this movie that I can point to and say they didn't really do that very well.
yeah.
The ending was a bit weird, but I feel like it also came full circle because a couple things happened at the end that were mentioned earlier in the movie, so it kind of wrapped everything up into a nice little bow and then paid to